We got him. John Caroni. Federal charges, 3 counts. It finally happened. John Caroni, your jury found you guilty. They got you. Forgive my excitement. It's been 4 years in the making. Years of back and forth with perhaps the most devoted, cult-like following ever, the Safe Moon Army. For years they insisted nothing was wrong, that everything was above board. It was bizarre, especially considering they were the ones being misled. The supposedly locked liquidity wasn't locked. They were lied to and their money was taken. Now it's all confirmed. 3 charges: securities fraud conspiracy, wire fraud conspiracy, and money laundering conspiracy. Today we'll be hearing from David Z. Morris, who was on the ground during the trial. He'll give us a detailed look at what took place. But before that, I just want to take a moment. It's been a tough road. Honestly, I'm working on merch that says crime is legal, with the caveat that this stuff was grandfathered in under old rules. That's essentially what Caroni argued, that the case shouldn't proceed under new regulations. But credit to the prosecutors, they pushed through. I'm proud to say I started covering this case 4 years ago. We even mentioned some of the same wallets during our initial reporting that were later used as evidence. You wouldn't believe the year I've had, watching the SEC and FBI cases fall apart. So to see this one go through after all this time, it's powerful. It's motivating. It makes me want to keep reporting. This isn't just about John Caroni. This sends a broader message. To anyone who believes they can deceive and steal without consequences, justice may take time, but it's possible. A reminder, these folks threatened legal action. Their legal team sent me letters. The Safe Moon Army said they were coming for me. It's been a battle. That's why today's a big deal. So let's turn to David Z. Morris, who attended the trial. I had originally planned to be there, but Caroni didn't testify, which, though disappointing from a viewer's standpoint, was probably a wise legal move. Before we hear from David, if you haven't already, go back and watch the original Safe Moon investigation. We'll link it below. After 4 years, this is the end of a chapter. I could have earned a degree in the time it took for this to wrap up. Huge thanks to everyone who stayed the course. This moment is for you. Now over to David. What was the trial like? David: I'm doing well, and yes, it's a good day. If you've followed my coverage, you'll know I went back and forth on where this was headed. The defense did what they could with what they had. The key moment legally was Caroni choosing not to testify, which, while anticlimactic, was probably the right decision. Overall, this trial wasn't as dramatic as others I've covered. Even when the verdict came down, Caroni and his parents barely reacted. But the evidence spoke for itself. The prosecution showed clear discrepancies, Caroni saying one thing publicly and something very different in private Discord messages with Thomas Smith and others. Host: So it was really those private chats that did the most damage. Can you share an example? David: Sure. Caroni's whole argument was, I never said the liquidity pool would be locked. But there was one particular message exchange with Kyle Unge, probably from March, shortly after Caroni became CEO. Unge asked if they should disclose that they'd been using the liquidity pool funds. Caroni responded, and I'm paraphrasing, we should put a message out, but let's talk about how to massage it. That word, massage, was a turning point. The prosecution said, that's the conspiracy right there. And they never did issue that statement. In fact, they kept being evasive. Host: That seems pretty damning. David: Yes, and that wasn't all. There were chats between Caroni and Smith about how excited they were about all the money they were making. The phrase castle money came up, a term Smith liked to use. They also discussed cars, expensive ones. These conversations showed how gleeful they were while claiming publicly that developers were barely being paid to build the platform. That contrast, public sacrifice versus private enrichment, definitely swayed the jury. Host: And Smith testified against Caroni. David: Yes, and he was a significant witness. If you remember his old videos with the wizard beard and hat, It's quite the transformation. He's completely gray now. Shows you what 4 years under federal investigation can do. Avoid that if you can. Host. The whole thing seems to revolve around the liquidity pool in Bitmart. Promises made publicly, but privately it was all self-serving. David. Exactly. We've seen court documents showing massive purchases. Cars, homes, over $1 million in vehicles alone. These weren't business expenses. The defense argued Caroni was simply being paid as CEO, which was $400,000 annually. That's more than enough. But then a video surfaced. Caroni, filming himself in a hotel room on a Zoom call with someone who sounded like Smith, describing the payments as bonuses that don't exist. That video was shown to the jury. Host. That really ties back to the conspiracy, deliberately hiding things. David. Definitely. And just a fun fact, I have the first dollar from the Safe Moon office. Got it from someone who took over the lease post-bankruptcy. Also picked up some Safe Moon merch from the bankruptcy sale. It's been a wild ride. 4 years of digging, threats, and misinformation from the Safe Moon Army. Some of their members even attended the trial. Mostly in support, surprisingly. Host. Really? Even after all that? David. Yeah, and even now I still get pushback online for reporting the facts. But credit where it's due. Thanks to Protos for supporting this coverage. You can find all my reporting there. Host. Absolutely. Thanks for your work, and let's plug your Substack as well. David. Sure. My Substack is davidsmorris.substack.com. There'll be extra content there beyond what I publish on Protos. Host. We'll include the link in the show notes. Thanks again, David. David. Thank you. This was great. Take care.